Test.
I hear you. Can you hear me?
Wow, you're fast, David. Tie and a jacket.
Yeah. That was
Wow.
quick.
Clean,
That
you
was
clean
quick.
up.
He cleans up quickly.
Very impressed.
All right. Are we ready? Ready? Right, we call the regular council meeting of the city of Clearlake to order. Clearlake City Hall, Council Chambers 14050 Olympic Drive at 6:05 PM. We have a pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Murdoch, could you do a small?
Yes, sir. Father in heaven, we are so grateful to thee and for the many blessings that you have poured upon us. We ask that your spirit would be with us tonight to help us do the good work for the city. Ask for a special blessing to be with our staff, law enforcement, code enforcement officers, and ask for comfort and consolement as we move through some difficult times as a city and a county and a country. Father, we thank you so much and give you this grace through the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
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 All right, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Overton,
Here.
Councilmember Kramer,
Here.
Councilmember Claffey,
Here.
Vice Mayor Purdock,
Here,
Mayor Slutin.
Here. All right, do we have any changes to the agenda? No changes.
No changes, Mr. Mayor.
make
Have
a
a
motion to adopt the agenda submitted.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Vice Mayor Purdock and a second by both Councilwoman Overton and Councilman Kramer. All right, we'll go to our voting.
Aye.
Aye.
With Councilmember Claffey not present, we should be doing a roll call
Oh,
vote.
all right, roll call vote, Madam Clerk, then instead. Sorry.
Just checking to see the voting thing work.
All right. Councilmember Overton,
Aye.
Councilmember Kramer,
Aye.
Councilmember Claffey,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Purdock,
Aye.
and Mayor Slutin.
Aye. This is the time for public comment. This is the time for any member of the public to address the city council on any matter not on the agenda that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the city. The Brown Act, with limited exceptions, does not allow the council or staff to discuss items brought before under public comment. The council cannot take action on non-agenda items, and concerns may be referred to staff or placed on the next available agenda. Please note that comments from the public will also be taken on each agenda item, and comments will be limited to 3 minutes per person. Do we have anything here or on Zoom that wants to address the council, Madam Clerk?
There are no hands raised on the Zoom, Mr. Mayor.
All right. We have the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I know we don't have any presentations, but I believe this week is firefighter Remembrance Week, if I remember the title correctly, that I think we should at least recognize. Certainly they, as with our police force, very important to us. And I think it's something that we should honor them as well.
Okay, let the record show that we honor what was it again? Exactly.
Firefighter.
Firefighters.
Firefighters. All right. Anybody wants to pull anything on the consent agenda? If not, any from the public wants to pull anything from the consent? If not, we take it back to the council. Entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor. Go ahead.
Okay, I'd like to make the motion that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion with Councilwoman Overton and a second by Vice Mayor Purdock. Roll call, please. I have one change on number 10. The APC is where it shows that I'm the alternate, which is not correct. It has both Mr. Purdock and Mr. Kramer as members, and I am the alternate. Sorry.
Item,
10.
That's good.
okay.
Correction on that.
So do you need that motion to be made with that?
I think we could just move forward at that.
I'm taking the vote, yeah.
It needs to be, yeah, it needs to be
So-
reflected in a motion.
Okay,
So I make the motion to accept the consent agenda as presented with the change that our mayor has mentioned on item 10 on the committee appointments.
I'll second again.
all right. We have a motion by Councilwoman Overton and a second by Vice Mayor Purdock. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Overton,
Aye.
Councilmember Kramer,
Aye.
Councilmember Claffey,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Purdock,
Aye.
Mayor Slutin.
Aye. All right, we go to item number 11. Consideration of a partial abandonment of Spruce Avenue and Armillo Avenue, north of 18th Avenue. Laura, will you take that item?
Yeah, so you may recall that, shoot, I'm not sure how long ago it's been, probably a year and a half ago. The city entered into a purchase and sale agreement for property at the former airport, with the address here on Armijo, for construction of Fairfield Inn and Suites. And as part of that agreement, their normal footprint wouldn't quite fit on the parcel that we sold. And so that development agreement included, before they started construction, the city abandoning part of the right of way on each side of that property where there's no actual road improvements as part of that. So anyway, this is the process to actually do that. I can pull up a map or show that you have a surveyor's map that shows the areas to be abandoned in your packet. Maybe we're just real quick, I'll pull up a map of the area to make sure.
Thank you, Mr. Flotter.
So this is the 18th Avenue intersection of Highway 53. These are the storage facilities that the city just purchased. This here, the area at the end of the runway where we still have, stockpiles of materials. This is the parcel that the city sold. And these two areas are the partial abandonment of roadway. There is one house right here. And so that, if you look at the map, you can see like half of the right of way is abandoned down past that house. The city still owns this parcel on the other side. And then all of this area up here to this house as well. So, none of the property owners in the area are going to lose access to their property or anything like that. But, this is going to be developed in a little different way. There'll be probably some driveway entrances right here where this roadway was constructed, something similar down here. This one will probably have to go all the way through because there are a few houses there. But this is just to facilitate the development of the hotel. And so that's kind of the overview. I'll be happy to try and address any questions the council or public may have.
A couple of questions. Are there any utilities in these two roads?
Well, I believe there are some in the area as part of the project. Like, for example, we're going to be, so right now we're doing the design work for the construction of 18th Avenue extension all the way down here to Old Highway 53. That includes the utility design, utilities in the street. And then there's actually some sewer infrastructure. There's a force main and a gravity main that go right through the middle of this property that we're going to have to relocate so that they are, not all of them, I guess, are going to be actually in the right of way anymore, but there would be easements or whatever associated with maintaining access to that. So I don't know if Mr. Schwartz has any follow-up he wants to add on the utility part of it.
There's no utilities in the streets that are being abandoned. And like Alan was saying, we will relocate
Mr. Schwartz, could you get a little closer to the microphone?
we'll relocate the.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I was
Turn it
holding
on.
it down. We will relocate the sewer force main and gravity main into the 18th Avenue right away. And then the other thing I would add is that this abandonment also went through the environmental clearance and through planning commission already.
And the west side of Spruce was already abandoned.
No,
So there's a 20-foot strip that's still a public.
yes, to serve the house that's on that side.
Wait a second. So they come up from the south on Hale Avenue and go.
No,
on?
there's no access from the south. They come off of Victor.
And
From the south right now, it's right through here. You can see the
So-
They
road.
come from the north off of Victor down south. There's no roadway that goes north.
It just comes down about right in here where the house is, right?
Yeah.
and the abandonment would be to the,
Well, it's partial if, well, let me just look at, so now you kind of have the context here.
The abandonment, though, it impacts no property.
No impacts to any property.
So why are we not taking abandon the west side of Spruce?
Because that side of Spruce, there is a house that's served.
Well, right here on the corner. I mean, you're right, Mr. Mayor. We could abandon this section of Spruce too. We also own this property. It may be something that we want to do in the future, but this was the area that we needed to provide access for the hotel. And so, that's why we're just doing this at this point.
so the east half, the house is, where's the house on that?
It's on Armajillo.
Right here.
It's to the north of
Yeah.
that.
Here.
I have my
It's
streets
all over
mixed
there.
up. Yes.
We are, okay. Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember off the top of my head the process, but we have to do a whole public noticing thing.
It's according to that state highway.
It's a mailing out a certain,
And
Can you kind of, just so people know, what does this mean, abandonment of our city streets, so that they understand what it means?
Well, it's just would no longer become public right away. I mean, in this case, the property would essentially be part of the transaction to this property owner. I mean, and there will be improvements. I mean, the public will still be able, some parts of this area be able to access the hotel on a road and whatnot, but it's not going to be something that's publicly maintained by the city, any improvements within this area.
The one house that accesses from the north will have a 20-foot wide.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
driveway
on
and
Armajillo.
access.
There's the 20
Armajillo.
foot right away will remain, right? You can see right here.
Is that a public right of way, the 20-foot, or it
Yes.
just accesses their house? Okay. But it's not maintained.
What's a gravel street?
city street.
It is.
Still
a
would,
city
still would
street,
remain,
still
this
would-
section would
That's why we
remain
have to abandon it.
public right away.
I get that. But the 20 feet after the abandonment is what I was getting at, Mr. Vice Mayor.
all right, we have any more questions from staff? If not, we open it to the public. Any public comment on this item? We have any comment on Zoom, Madam Clerk?
There are no hands raised on the Zoom, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, we'll bring it back to the council.
Mr. Mayor, unless there's any other questions here,
Maybe, Councilman Claffey, you have any comments on this?
No, manager answered my questions. As long as those property owners still have access to their property, this seems like a good fit.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 2022-45 and read by title only. An ordinance of the city council, of the city of Clearlake, for the partial abandonment of Spruce Avenue and Armajillo Avenue north of 18th Avenue as described in attached exhibits A and B.
Second,
We have a motion by Councilman Kramer and a second by Vice Mayor Purdock. I have a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Overton. Councilmember Kramer.
Aye.
Councilmember Claffey.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Purdock.
aye.
Mayor Slutin.
Aye. Okay, we got item number 12, public hearing to consider development agreement 2022-01 for a commercial cannabis operation located at 2250 Ogland Canyon Road. Mr. Flora.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. So on May 24th, the Planning Commission approved a use permit at 2250 Ogland Canyon Road for a variety of cannabis-related activities. As you're aware, with all of the cannabis use permits, it's also required by the municipal code that they enter into a development agreement with the city. All of the development agreements that have been adopted thus far are the same. This one is no different. And so the Planning Commission, along with the use permit, recommended that the city council go ahead and approve the development agreement. So this development agreement is an uncodified ordinance, which requires a first and second reading and then recording against the property. So that's the brief overview, and I'll be happy to try and address any questions you may have.
Questions from staff on this? If not, we open it to the public. Anybody from the public wants to make a comment on this? If not in person, then if we have anybody on Zoom, Madam Clerk.
There are no hands raised on the Zoom, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, we'll bring it back to the council. And if there's no additional questions from staff, I entertain a motion.
Hey, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make the motion that we accept ordinance number 2642-2022, an uncodified ordinance of the City Council of the City of Clearlake approving a development agreement DA 2022-01 with Clearlake Harvest Company LLC for the property located at 2250 Ogland Canyon Road, Clearlake, California. Further description as assessor's parcel number 010-044-19-000. Read it by title only.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilwoman Overton and a second by Councilman Kramer. A roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Overton,
Aye.
Councilmember Kramer,
Aye.
Councilmember Claffey,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Purdock,
Aye.
Mayor Slutin.
Aye. All right, we go to the next item. Item number 13. Item number 13. Blank.
Discussion regarding mandatory water allocation.
There we go. Item number 13, discussion regarding mandatory water allocations and other drought mitigation measures. Right. Mr. Flora, you have any?
Yeah, I can give a brief introduction. So as you know, we are still in the midst of a drought. There have been some state executive orders from the governor related to the drought and a variety of impacts on water systems throughout the state. As the council knows, the city doesn't control any of the utilities. But of course, the three separate water systems operating in the city, impact your constituents. And so Mayor Slutin had asked that we have an item on the agenda to kind of get some update on some of the drought mitigation measures that may be happening from various water companies. So I reached out to three water companies, Mr. Ahart from Golden State Water and Frank Costner from Canoctay County Water District are here. It looks like we don't have a representative from Highlands Water, but just your opportunity, I guess, maybe to give them the opportunity to give the council a little bit of an update on the situation in their system and what their plans are. So you can share that with your constituents if you have any questions and take it from there.
Thank you, Mr. Flora.
Thanks. Mr. Ahart, or you want to come first and tell what?
Go by alphabetical order.
Yes.
Or that.
That's it.
Okay, do I need to, my name is Keith Ahart with Golden State Water Company. I'm the superintendent here locally. I'm gonna try to address some of the questions that I've heard from members of the council in the past. then I just made some bullet points of things that might interest you. Our schedule 14.1 is our water shortage contingency plan that's filed with the PUC. We hit stage 2 of that at the beginning of June when the executive order came out for mandatory stage 2 rationing. It applies to our schedule 14.1 applies to all of our customers in all of our service areas. However, one thing that's different from what the documentation was that was sent out to our customers is that we're not seeking surcharges at this time. So there's no punitive penalty if we don't hit the 20%. But while we're talking about the reductions, we've been monitoring on a weekly basis our production versus 2020, which is the year selected to compare to for the 20% reduction. And our production's down 37 to 43% over the course of those weeks. So first of all, thank you to all Golden State Water Company customers that might be listening on Zoom and those of you that are Golden State Water Company customers. Thank you for doing what you're doing. Keep doing it. Golden State Water Company as a whole is considered an urban water supplier because there was some question as to why Clearlake is lumped into that, because we an urban water supplier is any service territory over 3,000, and obviously Clearlake is not over 3,000 connections for our system here. But as a whole, the company is, so they have to follow the executive order as it's stated. I already mentioned that we're not seeking surcharges. The overarching goal of hitting stage 2 is, especially here in Clearlake, is just to make our customers think about how they're using water and, where possible, reduce the use. You know, I mean, obviously there's a couple days a week you can water outside and so on, but just, you know, be smart about it and think about it. And that's pretty much the only updates I have. Do you guys have any questions that are related to?
Yeah, I have one. We got a flyer that does say that we're going to be surcharge and punitive. Can you send out another update on that to all your customers? Because they feel that they're going to be charged with a lot of money. So
I can make the inquiry up the line. You know, Golden State Water Company has service territories all over California.
I realize
and
that.
So that would be like a special request to send correspondence here. I can ask and see if we can do that, just to let them know that we aren't currently seeking surcharges. They may not do that, because if conditions worsen, we might have to. So, you know, send correspondence out that we are, then that we're not, and then that we are again. It might be kind of confusing for the customers.
Is there any kind of media release that may also suffice in that notification?
We might be able to do something. I'll make a note of that and run it up to Flagpole and express the concerns and see if we can do something to let our local customers know that we're not currently seeking it.
Yeah, I've been asked the question. When are we going to?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that would have been
Now
for
you're telling me
overuse.
that we're not. So,
But that would have been in there originally, would be for overusage of what, not keeping the percentage down. Is that correct? That surcharge doesn't automatically go on everybody. It's only if you overuse, correct?
Correct. And
Okay.
and so
Raising his hand.
that kind of baseline number is there's a health and safety standard of 50 gallons per day per capita. So a household of 4, they would use 8 CCF of water on a monthly basis. So that's kind of the baseline. It would have to be significantly over that before those surcharges would kick in. But again, we're not seeking those at this time.
Well, I personally thank you for that little notice, because I was able to tell my grandkids, turn that water off. We're going to get charged for that.
Right.
So in one way, you know, it kind of makes them aware of how much water you actually do, you know, leaving it running and stuff. So now my household's pretty good. They don't leave anything running. So I kind of appreciated it.
And that's essentially the purpose of the notice and going to stage 2 was to get our customers thinking about what the impacts could be.
Councilman Claffey, you have some questions?
Yes, Mr. Ahart, thank you again for coming in here. So right now you're not doing the surcharge. If you said if things get worse, what's the trigger for that? Is that at a local level? Is that something dictated from the state or from your parent company?
It could be any one or a combination of those, and we don't currently have any like set criteria on what that would look like. As far as our intakes, they're situated such that the lake level would have to get to negative 10.5 feet Rumsey before our deepest pump would get dry. So, I mean, as far as supply goes, we're safe. What would be a concern would be probably coming from the state. They've already curtailed our prescriptive right. So we have to purchase 100% of our water through our contract with Yolo County Flood. So we have an adequate water supply, but if they start curtailing those senior water rights, that would affect us in a way that we may have to conserve even more. But again, our customers conserve at a level that is far exceeds what they're looking at the state level.
Wonderful. And then in terms of treatment costs, as the lake gets lower, do those costs rise to any degree?
Yes, they do. Water quality suffers as the lake gets lower. It takes a little more, chemical and treatment, backwashing, et cetera, to be able to make quality water. We never want to compromise that. So it does take a little bit more.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Vice Mayor Purdock has some questions.
Actually, start with a comment. First, thank you for preemptively letting us know and for meeting with Supervisor Sabatier. They shared that information prior to this meeting so that you were not going to make that increase. But as you mentioned for Mr. Claffey's question, there is an increase in cost with reduction in use, which is a reduction in what we're paying. Could that trigger additional hike in rate to offset those costs or to meet those costs?
It's possible. After the fact, basically the way the PUC works is if there's an event such as a drought, right, that causes that, you're going to have, there's an abbreviated, we refer to it as the RAM. It's a water rate adjustment mechanism, which is essentially a surcharge after the fact to make up whatever that difference is. However, it may not take place.
And thank you for being so candid. On the transversely, when we have plenty of water, and I'm being optimistic that day will come, what do we do to reduce the rates once they go up? Because we've kind of had that experience a couple of times, and the rates didn't go down. And we see this because people don't have a yard and landscaping, that type of thing, which makes a city a better visually represented city.
So the RAM is a temporary thing. It's only allowed to recover whatever the additional cost is based on the event. Our rates going up, once they're approved and they're up, it's hard to get them back down.
That's my concern.
But they're completely different.
So the RAM
realms.
Is a RAM driven by PUC also, or is that?
Yes, everything that we do financially is driven by the PUC. We have to advise them of our loss and that we want to impose this RAM. And again, those are temporary. They're only until those costs are recovered.
They will come down when those costs.
Right. When the
lake fills up, will the cost come down?
Well, it's not quite like that. It takes a period of time for the amount of money over our normal budgeted amount. So if we incurred an additional $200,000 in costs, the RAM would be divided over our customers for a period of time such that when that $200,000 is reached, it falls off. That doesn't necessarily correlate to the lake filling up.
That makes
Are we
sense.
in general talking about months, years, weeks?
Usually months.
We'll remember that.
Thank you, Mr. Ahart.
Thank you, Mr. Hart, for the update. It's a item that's on everybody's.
Everybody's radar.
So thank you for coming. Do we have anybody from the public that wants to ask Mr. Ahart a question?
There are no hands raised on the Zoom, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Frank, you're up next and tell me
Thanks, Keith.
thanks.
Hello, everybody. My name is Frank Costner. I'm the general manager of Canocti County Water District. We serve pretty much the avenues in the city of Clearlake, which is east of Highway 53. So Canocti County Water District in 2014 adopted a water conservation plan, and that was the last drought. And in 2014, we did not activate it, but we adopted the conservation plan. So in 2021, last summer, the board of directors assessed the situation with the raw water conditions, the how low the lake level was, and they decided to activate the water conservation plan. So they activated, we went to a level 3, which is a 35% mandatory reduction. We did not have any surcharges or limits on the water as far as, tiered rates or anything of that nature. We were just wanting people to conserve water so the treatment plant could keep up with the treatment capacity. As the droughts happen, the water quality gets really bad. And when the raw water quality gets bad, sometimes our treatment plant has a hard time keeping up with demand. We have to lower our flows to process the extra algae and the worst conditions of the water. So last year, our customers conserved 14% compared to the 2020 usage numbers. And so this year, the lake is even lower. So it's about a foot lower than it was at this time last year, which is the lowest it's been in the 34 years that I've been working for the water company. The raw water quality this year is much better. The cooler weather and has really helped a lot. The lake quality is a lot better. Last year, we spent about $85,000 in labor and chemical costs above budget. And so to absorb those costs, we deferred some maintenance on some equipment so that we wouldn't have to put surcharges on our customers. So as far as things we're doing to help the community and help our customers have potable water through these times, we applied for a grant and we received $657,000, and we used that money to put new filter media in one of our filters. We are installing a booster pump at the raw water pump station to increase flow on one of our smaller lines that goes further out into the lake. So hopefully, we're further out, better water quality, and also there's 2 feet more water on that pipe than there is on our larger diameter pipe. So we'll have that booster pump installed probably within the next month. And that will allow us to continue pumping water from the lake if it continues to go lower. We don't know if this drought's going to end this winter. I mean, we don't know. What if this drought lasts another 10 years? I mean, this is the 3rd year of the drought. Now, usually what happens is after these droughts, we get major rainfall and we have flooding. I mean, it's kind of it cycles. But until that time, we're in a pretty bad shape in Clearlake as far as the raw water quality. We have lots of water in that lake. It's a very big lake. Everybody can lower their intakes and spend money doing that. But treating the water is very expensive. Now, I don't know if anybody's gone to the store or the gas station lately or bought anything, but things are very expensive. And everything that we buy has gone up a quarter to half to double the cost that we normally buy, you know, chemical cost, PVC pipe, gasoline, everything. If you can even find it, good luck finding chlorine, good luck finding acid, good luck finding PVC pipe, poly pipe. Things are very expensive. So currently we are in the process of working on about $15 million of infrastructure projects in Kanaka County Water District, 100% covered by grant. We have a new larger diameter intake line that's going out into the lake, new filter, new tank at the pellet treatment plant, a new raw water pump station with chemical treatment systems. So we are really proactive. We've been working on this project since 2014. And we expect one of the projects to be done, the major one, in 2023, next year. We haven't started construction. We're doing interties with Lower Lake, with Highlands, and we're consolidating with the Cache Creek Mobile Home Park treatment plant. They have a water treatment plant out there, or had. It burnt down. And so we're putting a 8-inch water main down Dam Road with fire hydrants, and all of Dam Road will have a brand new 8-inch water line. And so there will be one less water company in the city of Clearlake. So that's pretty much what we got going on. If you go to our website, KanakDaCountyWaterDistrict.com, the water conservation information is on there. And we have a very robust water conservation plan. In fact, a lot of the different water agencies around the lake have adopted our water treatment conservation plan, our water conservation plan, sorry.
You said,
Go ahead.
you said 35%, your conservation plan calls for 35% reduction in use,
Yeah, compared to the 2020 usage
but they went down 12% last year,
of 14%.
or 14%.
Yeah.
So were they penalized for that, or
No,
since they didn't go down 35%?
no.
Okay, how about this year?
This year, they were doing a little better, but they're not reaching the 35%.
Is that even possible?
Yes, it is. Yeah, especially the high users. We're not asking the people that use below like 650 cubic feet a month to meet those goals.
Okay, so it's somewhat selective, and you're targeting the higher users.
Yeah, we're asking everybody to conserve,
Right.
but we're really concerned about the high users, but we don't have any type of tiered rates or any mechanism. We do in our water conservation plan, there is a mechanism to do conservation pricing, which would raise the amount of the water cost, and that would cover the extra costs related to the drought.
So just so I understand, so you have thinking about tiered prices, or?
No,
No.
but we could implement conservation pricing, which would be just increase the cost of the water.
Across the board?
Yeah, across the board. Because you have to, you ask people to conserve, they conserve 14%. Well, you just lost 14% of your revenue for the water,
Mhm.
the water sales. And
Yeah,
so
no, I get that.
you got to do something to make up those costs. And, we can only defer maintenance for so long.
No, yeah.
I
I have been an old farmer. I understand that too.
Right. So we're doing our
We'll
best
catch
to
up
really help our customers right now. And they have responded. 35% was a little aggressive, but we just had no idea how this
Yeah.
summer was going to be. And we still don't. I mean, it could be
Mhm.
a really bad July or August, September, and we could be issuing boil water notices because we can't keep up with the quality of the raw water.
So that grant will also go to that deferred maintenance?
No, that will not. I mean, the grant is for infrastructure. They don't do
All right.
grants for
Yeah.
repairs and maintenance. We were really blessed that we got the filter media. Don't ask me how I did that, but we got the filter media covered. I just kind of slipped it in there and they approved it, and I wasn't arguing.
Okay, Councilwoman Over.
I'm just curious how both of you determine this, like, with things being so rough for everybody, a lot of households have moved in together, such as mine, where, it used to be me and maybe one other person. Now I have 9. So, and sometimes 12 on the weekends. So how do you determine the usage? Like when you say you want to cut down, and then, without, let's say you guys do start charging, how do you make that determination when to charge a household, when households are starting to combine, and of course usage of that water is going to go up in that particular household?
Well, we wouldn't identify the number of people in a household. We wouldn't do that type of adjustment. Basically, we would increase the cost of the water for everyone. It would just be not the monthly service charge, but the cost of the water.
The usage.
The usage would increase cost. We're not setting limits on you. If you use above, that's tiered rates. And there's some legal ramifications when you go to tiered rates that you have to be really careful. So it's recommended, because we're a government agency, to not use tiered rates because there's some legal issues with tiered rates right now.
Councilman Claffey. Oh, sorry.
Yes, so what level would the lake need to get down to for you to force you to lower your inputs?
That's a very good question. So right now, the top of our intake pipe is at negative 5.2 Rumsey. So currently we're like negative 0.8, 0.6. I haven't looked at it this month, but I look at it, I have a chart actually. I do have a Rumsey chart I was going to bring with me, but 0.6, yeah. So I'm sorry, did I answer that question? Or do you have another?
You did. And then my second question is, of your customer base, do you know the percentage that are conserving? I know the total percentage of water conserved is 14%, but what percentage of your population is following this plan?
That's a very good question. Unfortunately, we didn't do individual household conservation numbers. We just did overall, looking at overall. Some people conserved a lot. Like I was able to conserve 50% actually. I eliminated a garden, I eliminated some landscaping. And so I was able to, myself personally, reduce my uses by 50%. But some people don't have that luxury. If you have a household with a bunch of people and you're cooking, you're washing clothes and things, and you don't have a bunch of landscaping that you can eliminate, it's really hard to conserve water. And that, you can, of course you can, but so yeah, we don't have caps on households. We're not using tiered rates.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Kramer.
Yeah, another question for both of you, actually. Is there any thought of not allowing new hookups?
There's not a lot of hookups so it's really, we have thought of that. That's a good question. But we had like 2 hookups last year.
I'm sorry.
We had like 2 new hookups last year. So
Okay.
there's not we're not doing 20, 30 new hookups and so that is a mechanism that we could use. But then also, that's less revenue. That's revenue for the city. So no, if we had a bunch of a flood of people applying for hookups, we would probably put a moratorium on it.
Take another look at it.
Yeah.
Mr. Ahart, same question.
We're essentially in the same boat as them. We don't get a lot of new hookups. The big impact for us, I think, is people rebuilding after the sulfur fire, but they already had hookups. They might have to upgrade their service, but the supply is already factored in because they've already got a hookup.
Okay. So
And we also wouldn't deny somebody a new hookup. We're able to produce water. We're
It's a big lake. Yeah.
Huh?
It's a big lake.
Yeah. So currently we're not in that situation. That's not to say we couldn't get in that situation, but we're currently not there.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Do we have anybody in Zoom that wants to ask the gentleman a question?
There are no hands raised on the Zoom, Mr. Mayor.
Folks, Water Agency, thank you for coming and giving a little explanation. We appreciate it, and hopefully everybody will continue to conserve until the lake fills out.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor, I also wanted to thank them for coming, but I just wanted to clarify one thing, make sure the council understood this. Mr. Ahart mentioned this, but so the governor's executive order applied to urban systems. I forget the exact term, which is defined as more than 3,000 customers or hookups. And none of them are. Now Highlands, according to the water board, is almost there. But so none of them apply. The only reason it's applied to Golden State is they look at it as their whole system. So I just wanted to make sure and clarify that in Canoktai's case, they've created their own plan anyways, but it's not mandated by the state at this point.
Again, thank you, gentlemen.
Appreciate you
Thank
being
you.
proactive.
Yep. Go to item number 14, reintroduction of the first reading ordinance 263-2022, amending chapter 8, section 8.6 of the Clearlake Municipal Code relating to traffic and parking regulation. Mr. Flora.
Mr. Jones will present the staff report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. You may be wondering why this is coming back to you. We did have the first reading of a very similar ordinance last council meeting, but in discussion with Chief White and his team at the police department, we felt that there were some minor changes that would be helpful to eliminate any ambiguities when it comes to parking enforcement. The previous code had referenced both the zoning code and this section, the parking code. And so what we've done is eliminate those potential areas that might be unclear. And so I want to just direct your attention briefly to section 8-6.4, which deals with the parking and storing vehicles on unimproved properties being prohibited. What we've now done is specifically annotated when, well, that it's prohibited and when those specific exceptions are. For example, an exception would be if you're lawfully established as a parking lot. That would be an exception. So other than that, the rest of section 8.6 that was presented to the council before is mainly unchanged. Because of the procedural mechanism, we can't just do a second reading today. We're going to redo the first reading. And if the council is so inclined to approve that, we'll have a second reading at the next meeting, and then it would go into effect 30 days after that adoption. If there's any questions, Chief White or I are happy to answer them.
Any questions? Mr. Claffey, any additional questions?
Nope.
Okay, anybody on Zoom or in the public here have any questions?
There are no hands raised on the Zoom, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, we'll bring it back to the council. Can I get a motion?
Oops, I'd like to make the motion that we accept ordinance number 263-2022, read it by title only, and ordinance amending chapter 8, section 8-6 of the Clearlake Municipal Code related to the traffic and parking regulations.
Second that, Mr. Mayor.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Overton and a second by Councilman Kramer. Roll call vote, please, Madam Clerk.
City Attorney Jones, should they waive further reading of the ordinance in the motion?
I thought she said, I'll read it by title only, which is fine. But did you actually read the title? Or will you read it, Madam Clerk? No, I think we're good as long as the title was read. I just couldn't recall if that's what you said or not. Then I think we're good. Thank you, Melissa.
Councilmember Overton,
Aye.
Councilmember Kramer,
Aye.
Councilmember Claffey,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Purdock,
Aye.
Mayor Slutin.
Aye. All right, we'll move on to item number 15, consideration of approval of Lakeshore Design with BKF Engineering.
Director Young is going to present the staff report.
Very familiar with that engineering firm.
Hi, good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members and community. I'm very excited to get to kind of share a project that I think we all have been looking forward to. So, Hang on just one second. Okay, so I just have a quick presentation to just kind of go over our plan with this particular contract. So background, as you mentioned, Lakeshore Drive design has been sort of an ongoing project for the city of Clear Lake for several years now. And this project is both very challenging and also very important to the community because of its location as well as the narrow roadway, and it's already a tourism destination, but it has significant opportunity for an increase in tourism. So we're really looking forward to finally getting this ready to go. So we solicited design teams to develop the finalized streetscape in early 2022. We've been working on negotiating this contract for the past few months, and now we're finally here. So as you all know, we have some previous plans, including the Lakeshore Drive Downtown Corridor Plan that was completed in February of 2014. And that really included the community engagement, working with various focus groups and the general design concepts. Before that, there was a preliminary plan line design documents that were created in 1997 and included curb, gutter, and sidewalks. So we, as I mentioned, we put out our solicitation and we interviewed a couple firms. BKF Engineering was ultimately selected, and they have been very patient with us as we've been kind of working through, and they understand the importance of this project. And they have agreed to incorporate the previous plans. And they also, as part of their team, have a grant writer who is going to help us apply for various grants and get additional grant funding as needed. And right now we're going to just do the first stage 1 and 2 with the idea that the final phase can be done once we get more funding, or we may potentially choose to do it partially in-house. So that part is still getting worked out. But like I said, they've been very patient and very flexible with us. So we're able to move forward with these stages. So stage 1 is going to be taking the original plan from 2014, and they're going to continue to sort of refine the conceptual design and figure out exactly the project, which would include pedestrian and bicycle, as well as intersections and various parking options and things like that. Then they're going to look at the streetscapes, ways that we can get. One of the things that we're asking for is as much like bang for our buck. We want it to look good. We want it to be very accessible to the community, but we also want it to be relatively affordable while still not skimping on style. And then they're also going to be doing some outreach and helping us with funding support, figuring out ways that we can engineer it in a way that is still going to be cost effective while very exciting for the community. So then stage 2, they're going to be doing their surveying as well as their 30% design and getting their 30% cost estimate. At that point, we're also going to talk about the next phase, phase 3, and how we're going to complete the rest of the design and look at hopefully having additional grant support so that all of that can be done in a very expedient manner. Okay, so we also are still going to be working both with them and then as the city on continuing to update the community as the design comes near to completion. And we have quite a few things going on, as you all know, that are in the works for Lakeshore Drive. So we're going to continue to engage stakeholders and increase our engagement regarding murals and community initiatives. So like I mentioned, we have some other things going on. So we have the Clean California grants, and that's going to include murals along the drive on various buildings. And we also have wayfinding signage. So that's going to be probably bid out in the next month or 2, and then that can move forward. We've also submitted an application for CDBG-DR for the road resurfacing, and that looks like it's moving forward. We just have to finalize some things. And we also submitted an application for small business support with USDA, and that will be supporting sort of that downtown corridor as well. It might be. It's a mock-up. Isn't it cute though? I love this sign.
It's like a bowling alley.
So I like it. I think it's really cute. So we'll still
do.
see what we're moving forward, but trying to have something that's distinctive and really kind of sets Clearlake apart is what we're looking at. So are there any questions?
Is there a timeframe that this stage one and stage two, at least stage one is?
So we're still finalizing that in the contract, but they are raring to go. They really want to get going. They've actually been, the delay's been a little bit more on my side.
So we're
trying to
talking
figure out the
months?
Funding. Pardon?
So we're talking months then, timeline?
For phase 1 and 2, yes. Phase 3 is going to be a little bit more extensive. So,
Which offices from BKF is doing this?
so you have to forgive me because I'm still getting used to the areas, but they're not far from here at all. I know that they are like driving up, and I know the landscape architect that they're planning that's going to be part of this team. Actually, her family has a house right here in Clearlake, and
So they have different subs. Okay.
So they're within a couple of hours.
oh yes, I think they said that they were in about an hour drive. No, and they've already come up and visited a few times. So
So if,
I'm familiar with the firm.
if I could add a couple of things, you know, one of the priorities was not throwing out all the work that was already done. But there will be some sort of touch points later to kind of verify the design with the council and, you know, get some final input from the public. We could have done this a little bit cheaper if we would have just went with a straight engineering firm, and it would have been, you know, curb, gutter and sidewalk, that type of thing. But this is really our downtown area, and it needs to be a little sexier than that. And so that's why we really like this team, which will bring a bunch of these professionals together. If one reason we peeled off phase 3 at this point is, you know, that part of it, which is really you take 30% and you go to 100% of your construction documents. You know, that's going to cost, it could, well, another 750,000 or something. We feel like that once we get the conceptual design, we get it to 30%, we could probably use even our in-house engineering firm and develop the construction documents from that point, because they'll have the sexy stuff already worked in at that point. So anyway, I just wanted to give you that background. We do think that, you know, the community, this is really important for a lot of reasons, and we need to do it right. And so it's worth the extra investment on this one. So
Thank you both.
Okay. Any questions? Councilman Claffey? Staff? No, and no questions are open to the public. Any public comment on this? Madam Clerk?
There are no hands raised on the Zoom, Mr. Mayor.
Council, I have one question. So we, my wife and I own several properties along Lake Shore. Should I be recused from this vote, Mr. Ryan Jones?
I guess the way the definition works is if more than 15% of businesses along there are also or within the city would also be impacted by this, then you don't have a specialized you know, relationship to it where you need to recuse yourself. So I'm trying to think of the numbers. How many, so maybe Ms. Young, how many businesses do you think are impacted by this that are along it?
it's what, 2.5, 3 miles of.
it is, yes. I would highly doubt that.
So if it's that long and it's that
I'm
remote,
just
I
asking
would
because
say
wanna make-
short answer is I think you're fine
Good
staying
point.
here.
But you're always welcome to
Mr.
recuse
Mayor.
yourself if you feel a conflict.
I mean, the 15%, if I have.
Meaning-
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. If there's a lot of other businesses that are also impacted by this, then you're fine. If you're one of the few businesses that have an impact, then you should step out.
We have 3 properties along there, so I doubt it.
You're
one of your properties is outside the hidden area. at
Yeah, this
53.
this project would be from Old Highway 53 to Olympic Drive. So the one property is on the other side of it.
Okay, so that'd be fine. Sorry, I just wanted to clarify.
Thank you for bringing it up.
Appreciate that.
That
That's
case-
fair. I'd also like to disclose that I do also have a residence on Lake Shore Drive as well. Just for clarity.
Okay,
Same advice for Mr. Claffey. I think you're okay voting as well.
all right.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir, Mr. Kramer.
I'd like to make a motion to authorize the city manager to execute the Lakeshore Drive design contract with BKF Engineering for phase 1 and 2 of Lakeshore Drive design not to exceed $450,000.
Wholeheartedly second.
We have a motion by Councilman Kramer and a second by Vice Mayor Purdock. Roll call, close. Please.
Councilmember Overton,
Aye.
Councilmember Kramer,
Aye.
Councilmember Claffey,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Purdock,
Aye.
Mayor Slutin.
Aye. All right, go to next item. Item number 16, consideration and approval of on-call consultant contracts. Mrs. Kelsey Young, please. She's-
Okay, great. So I get all the fun ones today. So let me just have this go. Well, at least they're fun for me. So, all right. So thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members. Kelsey Young, Director of Finance. So this is going over the City of Clearlake on-call consulting. This will be another fairly quick presentation. But this came about because we have quite a few projects that are happening concurrently. We have limited staff, and we also have a lot of grants. And grants have very specific solicitation requirements that is relatively involved and somewhat cumbersome and can take a lot of time. So in order to try to sort of expedite this, because average time on the street for a solicitation is at least 30 days. We have our contract negotiation process, which is really at least 20 days. And so staff time takes a fair amount of time to do each solicitation. And like we said, we have a lot of needs and a lot of consultants that we need working on some of these projects. So instead, we did one solicitation for multiple multi-year on-call consulting contracts. And we left it very open-ended where we were asking for engineers, for architects, for some surveyors, inspections, all within the same solicitation, with the idea that they only needed to apply for the areas that their firm could actually support, and they could let us know exactly specifically what they're going to be doing. We made sure to have federal reimbursement language in there so that if we wanted to utilize any grants, we could have that. And this would also allow for, once we had these contracts in place, we could ask for proposals to this group so that we could still utilize best pricing, but it would really significantly decrease time instead of having to go out and do a new solicitation each time. So some of the projects that we can use for this solicitation would be, engineering for Measure B road projects, landscape architecture, traffic engineering, facility architecture, surveying, inspections, potentially project management, and construction management. So this was very exciting for us, even though I know it seems like sort of a fairly straightforward thing. But this will also allow us to have multiple consultant firms available at the same time. So we can also reach out and get some extended expertise as needed. We also have the option to build teams. If we need both an engineer and a landscape architect, we could ask both of them if they'd be willing to work together. We already have them on contract. It really makes that a lot easier. And especially with all of our debt financing projects and some of the other projects in the works, this allows us to have multiple consultants working on projects concurrently, which is going to greatly increase potential speed for those consultants to finish that. And we also get an increased network of support. One of the cool things by having these consultants that we're working with is they're working with other cities, they're familiar with other challenges, they're able to kind of come and provide us some guidance and let us know what other cities are doing as well. So we ended up selecting 9 consultant firms, which I'm just so excited about, because now as we're moving forward, we can do this and utilize them very, very quickly as needed. The way that these contracts are set up, they are on call, which means we are not obligated to use them all or use all of the capacity, but they are available to us. So the terms are for 3 years with an option to renew for up to 2 additional years. Right now, we're looking at a 200,000 total contract capacity per contract. But we can increase if we decide to come back to council and increase it various contracts. They've already given us their rates. So those rates are already locked in. So we can just utilize those rates as we're moving forward. And the way that this is set up, we can select directly if someone has a specific need, but otherwise what we would do is we would ask for just quick proposals to all of these consultants for those who have expertise in this area or potentially have the capacity to get it done within our required timeframe. And I love procurement. So this is probably like way more exciting for me than everybody else, but I'm very excited about this. Also, to create more efficiency, we also allowed for piggybacking on the solicitation, and piggybacking is a form of cooperative purchasing that allows other agencies to use our solicitation with exactly like the same services and the rates that were already provided through the solicitation. And both the city of Lakeport and Lake County have expressed interest in piggybacking off of these contracts, which is going to be also a benefit to the consultants in that one, you know, they have more potential agencies interested, but also they'll be looking at this area and they can, you know, use economies of scale and move in through here as well. If the other agencies choose to piggyback, they will be developing their own contract. They can use these rates, but they won't be using our contract capacity. Okay, I know that was a lot. So any questions? Okay. Thank you. I'm really excited too. Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Any additional questions from staff?
Good presentation, no questions.
We'll open it to the public. We have any?
I think
Oh,
David has
Mr.
some.
David Claffey, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that the ingenuity and initiative displayed by the city staff over the last year or so around these road projects is really impressive. So thank you, Director Young. And everyone, of course.
All right, we'll open it up to public now. Any public comment on this? If not, we'll bring it back to the council. Entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the authorization of the city manager and authorize the city manager to execute 9 on-call consulting contracts for a not to exceed amount of $200,000 per contract.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Kramer and a second by Vice Mayor Purdock. Roll call vote, please, Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Overton,
Aye.
Councilmember Kramer,
Aye.
Councilmember Claffey,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Purdock,
Aye.
Mayor Sluten.
Aye. Okay. Go to item number 17. Item number 17, award of contract for the 2022 chip seal project. Mr. Flores, is Mr.
Mr. Schwartz is going to present the staff report on this item.
Good evening, Mayor Slute, members of the council. This bid award is for a contract to chip seal approximately 10 miles of roadway throughout the city. I asked Alan to put, that's kind of an overall map of where the locations are within the city. And then each of those, I think you have detailed boxes if you scroll through them, and we can kind of just orient you, like the box in the upper left corner, which we call is area 1. It's on sheet 2, which is in the Hillcrest Avenue, West 40th area. It covers Hill Avenue, Wilder, Crandall, Sunset, Spruce, Lane, and Manzanita. So then box 2 is kind of the more central portion of the city. And it kind of covers a 43rd Avenue, working our way south to 39th, 38th, 37th, 34th, 33rd, and 31st and 30th. Those are the east-west streets. I'm just kind of giving you a general overview where we're at. Box number 3 is in the lower portion right there where Alan is circling it. And it covers James Street and Spruce Avenue going in the east-west direction, and Hale Street coming back around to Victor. And then finally, in the fourth one is tidying up some unfinished business we have over in the avenues. So all of those streets add up to about 10 miles. We had 6 bidders. We had a high bid of $1,391,000. We had a low bid of $912,945. We had given an engineer's estimate of $774,000. So we were the low bidder. Unfortunately, I never like to be the low bidder. Difficult to estimate these in these economic times, not understanding entirely what, chip sealing is a 100% petroleum-based operation. And it's just difficult to understand where they're going to be at.
Right.
So
we're going with the second lowest bidder.
I would recommend we go with the second lowest bidder, which would be Doolittle
we want to get it
Construction
done.
at $912,000. Thank you.
If I could add just briefly, we did look a little bit at the, because per mile, this is more than what we had paid the last couple of years. And we'd experienced that kind of the more that we did, the more per mile savings we got, which is why we're expecting something a little lower. But, with everything else considered, so we did look at the breakdown of the unit prices. It's a little hard because contractors bid things differently. Some unit prices were very comparable to what we paid last year, actually. But mobilization and traffic control costs were significantly higher. One contractor had $250,000 for traffic control. So anyway, we still feel like with the situation, it's a good bid, and we would recommend the council move forward.
It kind of fits in with our bond too, right? Because it's under $1 million and
Or loan.
we'll can still spend.
Yeah, so we have budgeted, I think we had 800,000 budgeted of just Measure V funds for this. Hopefully we could move some things around and still cover that, but it would be possible that we would use a little bit of the new debt financing to cover the difference.
This is outside the loan.
If you would have just listened to me, so we're planning on doing it all with Measure V. With the cost increase, we may need to use a tiny bit of the loan funds to do it.
Okay.
But it would still be consistent with the intent of what we're doing with that finance.
Sounds great. The only comment I have, the map was not in a package, but we do need to publicize this map and show what's coming next, because
We have
all see that more roads are being quote paved or taken care of. And we need to starting to let all our citizens know that we have all these projects going on, and that's one of them.
We'll see that it gets on the website. Is that what you're referring to, like
Yeah,
on the city's
yeah.
website? And
Promote all these things.
A nice little article on the Record B with we're doing, I think it's time to go to the newspaper. We should be front page news. We're doing so much.
Vice Mayor Purdock.
I have an operational question. I know when we did chip seal last year, there were some issues with residents in the avenues not moving cars, so we had to kind of go around them with the chip seal. Are we better prepared this year to move those vehicles if needs be? I'm kind of looking to the 2 lieutenants and working
They're
together.
both looking at each other. saying, "Oh, you answer that one. No,
Looking
you
at each
answer that
other.
one."
Maybe the chief would like to address that.
yeah, Public Works, we got no problem moving them, but we're
Well, yeah,
very
right.
popular.
With the ordinance that was read earlier tonight, when that goes into effect, it'll make it much more clear
Thank you,
in terms
Chief.
of the removal,
Good.
provided Public Works posts it.
Great answer.
Great answer.
All right, open it to the public. Any public comment on this item? Or Mr. Claffey or David Clapp?
No, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Okay, thanks. Any public comment on this item, Madam Clerk?
There are no hands raised on the Zoom, Mr. Mayor.
And we'll bring it back to the council.
Mr. Mayor, number one I need to say that I do own a home on Sunset in this one. I don't think I'm exceed the 15%, so I think I'm okay there. And secondly, I'd like to make a motion to ask for approval of a contract for the 2022 chip seal project and authorize the city manager to approve up to 10% for additional unseen contract amendments on the $912,000 bid.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Kramer and a second by Vice Mayor Purdock. Roll call vote, please, Madam Clerk.
Before we vote, I want to clarify that the motion includes additional 10%.
It did.
if necessary.
I said that.
All right. All right.
Councilmember Overton,
Aye.
Councilmember Kramer,
Aye.
Councilmember Claffey,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Purdock,
Aye.
Mayor Slutin.
Aye. All right, we move to item number 18, consideration of updates to management classification and benefits plan and city's salary schedule. Mr. Flora.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. So the city has agreements with all of the representative bargaining groups in the city. Unrepresented employees, which we normally refer to as management employees. Cost of living adjustments are outlined in the management benefit plan adopted by the council by resolution. And it outlines that management employees shall receive a salary adjustment each July 1st, and the salary adjustment shall take into consideration the March to March U.S. All Urban Cities Consumer Price Index, equity adjustments based on labor market and financial condition of the city. So over the last several years, the city council on or around July 1st have adopted adjustments to management salary based on that CPI, which was 1.9% in 2019, 1.5% in 2020, 2.6% in 2021. As you're aware, as a result of inflation, CPI is significantly different than normal, with the March 21 to March 22 rate being 8.5%. And so while you may consider it a stretch to offer management employees 8.5%, consistent with that, you could consider some adjustment for management employees. So the most two recent agreements enacted a 4% increase starting July 1st. I just did want to point out that over the past several years, if you look at the last 5 years, management has received 2% less than other groups. And so it's starting to result in some compaction in comparison. And so that's the information I have, and I would just turn it over to the council for consideration of some adjustment.
Oh, Mr. Councilman Kramer.
Yes, just so for clarification, the other groups have averaged over those 5 years, how much?
Let's see, I believe it's about 14%.
And management is where?
Yeah, it's 2% less than that. So I guess it depends. If you assumed a 4% adjustment this year, the equivalent of what the other two groups got, it would be 2% behind.
Be it 12%.
12% cumulatively over 5 years. Yeah.
So 6% would bring it up to the even with the others.
That's correct.
Hey, Vice Mayor. Sorry.
I'm sorry, one more question. And the cost to the city would be of this increase?
Well, the 4% increases were budgeted for all city employees. So anything additional for this group would be, it's about $10,000 for 1%.
40.
20.
Well,
20,000 for.
right. Yeah, the extra 2% that you were referring to would cost approximately 20,000.
6% total would cost an additional 20.
That's correct.
All right, Vice Mayor Purdo.
I just think this is a good idea to eliminate the compaction we've experienced, and I support the 6%.
Okay. Councilman Claffey, comments on this?
No, thank you.
Councilman Woman has no, I think 6 is fair to look at the cumulative effect over the last 5 years. So I'm all in favor of it. So we open to the public. Any public comments on this, Madam Clerk?
There are no hands raised on the Zoom, Mr. Mayor.
Right, we'll bring it back to the council.
I would go along with the 6%.
Do we need a motion for this?
Yeah, just
Yes.
providing direction, it says here.
Okay. Direction is 6% to even it out over.
Yeah, I think
I know you're providing direction. I think for clarity for the record, I think making a motion and.
I'd like to make the motion that we increase the management COLA to 6% to bring it even with the other classes that are a total of 14% over the last 5 years.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Kramer and a second by Vice Mayor Purdock. Roll call vote, Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Overton,
Aye.
Councilmember Kramer,
Aye.
Councilmember Claffey,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Purdock,
Aye.
Mayor Slutin.
Aye. Okay, we'll go to the last item on our agenda. Consideration of designation of voting delegates and alternate for the League of California City Annual Conference in September. Who's take this item?
Ms. Swanson.
Mrs. Swanson.
Honorable Mayor and council members, tonight the council is being asked to designate a voting delegate and an alternate for the Cal Cities Conference in September, which will take place in Long Beach, September 7th through the 9th. At the annual business meeting, the city council must designate a voting delegate in order to vote. Excuse me. The council may also appoint up to 2 alternates. So at this time, it's appropriate for the council to move to appoint 1 council member and up to 2 alternates by motion.
In the past, Councilwoman Overton has been the lead delegate.
So go ahead and speak.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, you're right. And this will probably be the first year that I am not going to be going to the League of Cities since I've been on city council. But fortunately, I'm going to be gone prior from the end of July to August, and I just don't feel like I can take off another time. And that was, I need to do my vacation. So I will not be going to the League of Cities. So,
If memory serves, Councilman Kramer is our alternate and would take that position. Are you attending?
Are you intending to go with this?
I am attending. That's going to attend.
We'll need that.
I served prior to Councilmember Overton and I plan on attending if
That'd be
at the
great.
council's wish, if they would like that.
Okay. So we need 2 alternates.
it's always, yeah, they
Mr.
like 2 alternates.
Councilman Claffey, are you interested?
I will be attending, and yes, I'm happy to serve as an alternate.
You'll be the second alternate. I'll be attending too, and I'll just see how you guys vote.
Be the third.
You better be telling them how to vote before they go in there.
Yeah, exactly.
So far, there hasn't been any
We need to
real
talk about
items
this.
that have been on the, to be voted on, is my understanding.
But they'll brief us.
Not yet.
They'll brief us, yes. All right, we'll go to city managers.
Do we
Okay.
need, we
I think
need,
we need to have a,
We'd actually need to have
Oh,
a
we need
vote.
is it
Okay,
actually a resolution?
we need to
It's
open
just
to the
motion.
public, I guess, first, since we have, is any
Mr.
public comment on it?
There are no hands raised on the Zoom, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, we'll bring it back to the council for,
Mr. Mayor, I would make a motion that we designate Councilmember Kramer as our voting delegate with Councilmember Claffey and myself as alternates for the League of California Cities Annual Conference in September 2022.
I'll second that.
but who's 1 and who's 2? Who's the first alternate? Who's the second alternate?
Mr.
Vice
Vice Mayor Purdock is the first alternate and Councilman Claffey is the second alternate. Okay. This is high. This one. All right. We have a motion by Vice Mayor Purdock and a second by myself. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Overton,
Aye.
Councilmember Kramer,
Aye.
Councilmember Claffey,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Purdock,
Aye.
and Mayor Sluten.
Aye. All right, we'll go to city manager and council member reports. Laura.
Yeah, just a couple of things. So we have 2 seats on the city council that are going to be up for election in November. And so we'll be putting information out about the process on that if folks are interested in. Did you want to give some information now on the deadlines, Ms. Swanson?
Sure. The nomination period opens Monday, July 18th. There is information on our website. If you go to administrative services or search for election, there is additional information there.
Perfect.
When's it close again?
If both of the incumbents file for re-election, the period closes August 12th. If one or more incumbents do not file, it is then extended to the following Wednesday.
Okay, yesterday we received hard copies of the grand jury report. As of this morning, it's still not on their website. They only gave us 3 copies, so I don't have a copy for all of you, but, oh, you do? Okay, okay. We can figure out how to get those around. I haven't, okay. I haven't read all of it, but it looks like that there is some discussion in the report on animal control, and there is some discussion about Clearlake, but no response is required by the grand jury on that one. There is a report on abandoned vehicles. There is a response required by the city on that. And then there's an additional one on recycling with a required response from the city. So you're familiar with the process. You get a chance to look at that. And then within 90 days, the city council needs to prepare a response. Interestingly enough, on the abandoned vehicles and the recycling, there's no response required from the city of Lake Forest. So I don't really know why they care about us and not them. But anyways, and then just a couple of quick project updates. So the Solve for Fire project is, I don't know, 99% done. A few punch list things. The same thing with the first phase of Burns Valley. The paving was done, yesterday? And striping will be complete, and then a few other items there. So those projects are wrapping up. Second MODOC, I guess, will be starting here really soon. Yeah. So we just have to have a few projects going at any time, but and then of course chip seal hopefully here before too long as well. I think with that, that's my update.
Councilman Kramer.
I don't have a lot. We've had more Lake Links meetings. We're still haven't chosen a program manager. We are interviewing. We've interviewed 2 in person and a third will be interviewed this week. Next week. Hopefully we'll have that person in place very soon because the board's getting very tired of meeting so often to get this data done. Anyhow, we're moving forward on that. We've received some grant money to continue to develop our volunteer driver program that we're all pretty excited about and think will really be good for the community. I think council, I'll let you speak to that. We're working on finally moving forward on getting the storage building project slab down. We worked on it the last 2 days. thank you to Mayor Slotin and Vice Mayor Purdock for their help on it, and hopefully we'll have it done here very soon. That's all I have at the moment.
Councilman Claffey, you have any interesting to report?
I just wanted to make note, once again, the Independence Day celebration here in the city of Clear Lake was incredible. For our residents, it is something that feels so effortless, but for all the organizations and of course the city and all the departments that contribute to make this happen, I know it's a lot of hard work. So I just wanted to give a big thanks. It was another wonderful event, and thank you for everyone who participated.
Thank you. Councilman Overton.
Well, I am definitely excited about the Lake Links volunteer driver thing. I hope that really goes, because I do get a lot of calls from seniors for needing, doctor's appointments and a lot of different things. We try to direct them to the best we can, but I think once that goes in, that'll be great. I'm going to look forward to helping you with it and using it. So I agree with Councilmember Claffey. Nothing but positive comments about our everything, how there was no problems. Police department was great, staff was great. And I mean, and that even though our fireworks were as good as what they have been in the past, they were still the best in the county. So even though we thought maybe they weren't as good, they still beat everybody else. So I'm very proud. We're staying on top. So I'm really proud of our staff. I really think this was like, just gets smoother and smoother every time we do something as we learn on how to do that. And I have to say, Tina was out there the whole time, the whole day, doing everything. I mean, I seen her everywhere. So I really want to give her some kudos. And I know Melissa was out there working with Tina to put a lot of this together too. So, I mean, I'm really proud of our city and our staff. I just think they've done a really fabulous job about bringing our events, forward. And I'm really looking forward to the Soapbox Derby and all these other things that are going to be coming up. So, I really didn't have anything to report. I didn't really go to any meetings. I talked to Paul with Lake Links, as he said, but I just want to say that I think we should be very proud of everything that we're doing and moving forward. And I hope our citizens are. I see the difference. We have no arguments, no fighting, no nothing. I just see the difference of how everybody's just changing. And this is where I've always said it starts from the top and moves down. Perfect proof is we keep having better and better events with less and less trouble. So, I mean, I think we're doing a great job.
If I could add on that, I was remiss in not mentioning that. And it takes an enormous amount of work. And if you get the chance in particular to thank any of the public works guys, because it takes an enormous amount of preparation from them. But everyone is proud of it. And I mean, it makes me really proud. I was on vacation. I didn't attend one planning meeting this year. And that's the way it should be. And it went off, pretty much without a hitch. I'm really proud of everyone that participated on the law enforcement side as well. So
I do have one request for our next big event, whether it's the Soapbox Derby or whatever. One of the problems, especially when we have this many people, we need somebody that's taking care of the bathrooms, even if they're the portable ones that we rent or whatever. But that was the only thing that I did get complaints on. And I even went and looked at them after I got the complaints. And yes, we need a person that is maintaining them on a regular basis throughout these events, because it is pretty sad that, you can't really use the bathroom because they're just so bad. So we need somebody that can go in and clean them every, half an hour. That should just be one person's job. And, maybe we can, just hire some, kid, pay minimum wage for the day and give a high school person a job, maybe work out something with the school or something. But I think we do need to look at that part.
Vice Mayor Purdock.
I want to echo the same sentiments. But I really want to call it out for the Lions Club. Some of our staff working here at the city are Lions members, but the Lions Red Bud Parade was spectacular. They're getting the carnival here, and I know it's their primary fundraiser, but those folks really work hard. I would really encourage people, if you don't belong to a service club or organization, look into one, because that's really in my opinion, the heart of our community. Just can't say enough for that. Special thanks to Alvaro for coordinating the international worm races. Got off to a little bit of a slow start, but we're going to be coming back next year. And much like the Calaveras, frog jumping, we're going to be a contender for this international recognition. Speaking as the president of the chamber currently, want to put Clearlake on the map for our worms. I have nothing else to report, Mr. Mayor.
I intended to part of the celebrations, and I want to echo everybody's comments. Staff, Public Works, PD, everybody stepped up, and that made it a citywide event that everybody enjoyed. So thank you for all the people that contributed to that. All right. Any future agenda items? Nobody. If not,
We're trying to recall whether coming out of closed session made a report that there's no reportable action or not.
I think you did. I asked you, you were going over there.
I did not do it. So if you don't mind, Mayor, I want to report that there was no reportable action from the closed session that took place prior to this open session.
All right, with that, we're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, David. Travel safe.